Stop FBI raids on peace activists. Stop FBI raids on peace activists. Stop FBI raids on peace activists. Stop FBI raids on peace activists.
On the 24th, there were raids on about 7, I think, homes in Chicago and Minneapolis, and subpoenas issued to 11 individuals in Minneapolis, Chicago, and Michigan. And then the following Monday, another 3 subpoenas were issued as well. The offices of the Twin Cities Anti-War Committee was raided, and I guess one of the connections is my name was on the search warrant for the Twin Cities Anti-War Committee that asked to look for him for any documentation that I was giving money to the Twin Cities to Anti-War Committee to funnel to guerrilla groups in Latin America and the Middle East. Anyway, I just want to say I think this is the charges are, or the allegation, the investigation is outrageous. It's a violation of people's civil liberties, and it's a threat to the broader peace movement and other movements in the United States. If any of you are interested in finding out more information, there's daily updates. There's been a committee to stop FBI repression that's been set up. It's stopfbi.net on the web. In the days following, there were protests in over 30 cities across the country, from major ones, of course, in Minneapolis and Chicago, to talk to a person who went to a small gathering, even smaller than this, in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So I don't know all the places there were, and I think that these protests, there were mass meetings, I know, in Minneapolis. Many of these are actually up on the web. If people want to search for them, they can find videos of these. I think it has caught the government a little off guard. The latest press release I got from the Committee to Stop FBI Repression said that the federal district attorney did cancel the subpoenas for 5 of the activists who were supposed to testify today. Now, this doesn't mean it's the end. There's still people who are supposed to, who have been subpoenaed for next Tuesday and for the Tuesday after that. As long as the grand jury is ongoing, there's still a possibility of more subpoenas or, government actual indictments or arrests. So I don't think this is over by any means, but I wanted to again thank all of you for coming out today and for supporting me, and even more importantly for supporting the peace movement and for different activists working to try and improve people's lives here in the U.S. Thank you very much.
My name is Masao Suzuki. I teach economics at Skyline College in San Bruno, and I live here in San Jose, California.
Okay, and apparently the FBI apparently came to your home. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yes, on the morning of Friday, September 24th, a little before 7 a.m. in the morning, as I was getting out of my car to take my daughter to school, or getting into my car to take my daughter to school, a young man approached me and said, Mr. Suzuki. I said, yes. He says, hi, I'm from the FBI. And then I exercised my right not to talk to him.
Oh, so you had nothing at all to say to them?
I said, I don't want to talk to you.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I did that is, one is you do have a right not to talk to the FBI. And the FBI, what they can do is anything you say to them can be used against you or against other people that you know. And if you say anything untrue to the FBI, that's, my understanding is that's a federal crime. So that's why, in my opinion, I exercise my right not to talk to them. I also know that there's a long history of the FBI questioning people not for what they've done, but for who they are or what they believe. In the days after December 7th, 1941, the FBI and other government agents arrested hundreds and ultimately a total of 2,000 leaders, business people, church people, flower arrangers, dance teachers, anyone who had ties with Japan in the Japanese American community. This was prior to the mass roundup of Japanese for concentration camps. And then I knew in the 60s the FBI had a COINTELPRO program that spied on and tried to harass and disrupt different civil rights and activist organizations. They spied on Dr. Martin Luther King. They helped carry out a program to disrupt the activities of the Black Panther Party. And then most recently, in the last 9 years since September 11th, many Arab Americans and American Muslims have been singled out by the government for questioning. Mosques, Islamic centers have been infiltrated, etc.
I understand something happened with your parents in the 50s, and they took a trip to China. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I guess part of the reason I know about the FBI, my parents were actually peace activists back in the 1950s during the Korean War and the McCarthy era, and they actually met in Beijing, China, where they were attending the Pacific Rim Peace Conference in 1952. And after they came back, they were also followed by the question by the FBI. They were, I heard they tried to get them subpoenaed for the House Un-American Activities Committee. And basically, what my parents said is they were trying to get people to say that the leaders who organized the trip to the peace conference were spying for China.
Oh my goodness. So, and your parents did speak with the FBI?
I don't actually know. I don't think so. I think they tried to avoid that.
Can you tell us what your connection is with the groups that were, well, the Japanese internment? They're concerned with the Japanese internment?
Yeah, I've been active for over 20 years with the Neomachi Outreach Committee here in San Jose. I got involved when I was a graduate student at Stanford in the late 1980s. And Neomachi Outreach Committee, or NOC, basically came out of the Japanese American community. Its first concern was actually protecting Japantown from redevelopment, seeing what happened in San Francisco and also in Los Angeles, where large Japanese corporate interests combined with local redevelopment agencies to basically redevelop and change the character of the Japantowns from ones that were small business and community oriented to sort of tourist and corporate oriented. But then in the 1980s, the Neomachi Outreach Committee took up the issue of redress and reparations for Japanese Americans. This was a demand that the government give an official apology and also monetary compensation or reparations for the survivors of the concentration camps. And actually, we're standing in front of, behind me, there is a Bass motif showing some of the incarcerations, the trains taking people off, the guard towers, some of the barracks of the concentration camps during World War II. And they basically took 120,000 people, all the Japanese on the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, California, and southern Arizona, and put them in concentration camps in the desert and mountain areas of the United States. And so there was no trial, no charges against them. And this was a violation of their civil liberties. And through the work of NOC and other organizations in the National Coalition for Redress and Reparations and the National Japanese American, I can't remember the other groups, in the Japanese American Citizens League, worked together to get Congress to pass redress and reparations, I think.
Thank you very much. I hope the FBI leaves you alone now. Do you? You have something else to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that what I found out later that day is that the activists whose homes were raided and who were subpoenaed were basically all peace activists. They were involved in organizing a major protest at the Republican National Convention in Minneapolis I think it was actually in St. Paul in 2008, and many of them were international solidarity activists who had traveled to other countries, listened to the people there, trade unionists, student activists, peasant leaders who were being harassed, imprisoned, assassinated by the government and death squads in the Middle East and Latin America. And so I think that what the government is trying to do is not only attack the peace movement also, but criminalize the point of view that sympathizes, that stands in solidarity with people in other countries whose governments are repressive and who are backed by the United States. And so I think this is probably one of the most dangerous things, is that people will be attacked, and not for any alleged aid to foreign guerrilla groups, but actually just for acts of solidarity. And I think there's been a very broad response to this. There were protests in over 30 cities in the days following the raids. There's been a national committee to stop FBI repression. It's on stopfbi.net on the web, which has daily updates. And I think it's a deep concern, and I'm really glad the peace community and other activists have responded. I think the government has felt this a little bit. I just got a press release from the committee Stop FBI Repression. On today, October 5th, was the first day of the that the people who were subpoenaed were supposed to show up to the grand jury in Chicago, and the federal district attorney announced that the subpoenas for today were canceled. Now, this isn't, I think this is at least a victory for the peace movement and for civil liberties, but there's still subpoenas outstanding for next week and the week after, and the grand jury itself is still ongoing. They could reissue subpoenas or try and indict people or even arrest people. So it's not over by any means, and I think that whatever people can do to protest this, but also to keep building the movement for peace and justice, will be very important in the days and weeks and months to come.
Thank you very much, Masao.